You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? Why, these things are usually on the street. Oh, feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
Hey there, Whovians, and welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. That's right, folks, we are back, and we are looking at the Fifth Doctor era. We are going back to Terminus. It's the last part of the, I guess you want to call it, the Black Guardian saga that we have not reviewed yet. We, us who never do anything in order, we did the first part, and we did the third part. And so we're getting around to do the middle finally. It's pretty cool. And it was an interesting adventure. And we had to say farewell to one of the companions in this one. So, and, at least this one didn't get blown up, trying to save the Earth. So it was interesting. So we will be spoiling the hell out of it if you haven't seen it yet, as always. And we definitely would love to hear from you guys. Feedback at earthstationwho.com. How's your summer going? Is everything going okay? And, we definitely would love to hear what you guys have going on. What are you doing to keep up your Doctor Who flags and, everything? Are you ready for the 60th anniversary? Are you ready for, see David Tennant back as Dr. 14? Are you ready to, see Ncuti already? And it's, there's lots of little things going on. But, with it being an anniversary year and everything, they announced that the next Blu-ray that they're going to be putting out by BBC actually is pretty cool. They are doing the 20th anniversary season of Doctor Who, which is Peter Davison. And actually the episode we're doing tonight is actually part of that box set. So how's that?
Yeah, it was nice of the BBC to consult us.
Of course,
about
our
that.
schedule, their schedule, it's simpatico there, folks.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Exactly.
I'm talking more about the BBC. Well, and us. I guess it's two broken clocks.
Two broken clocks that pass in the night. It's perfect. So yeah, it's pretty cool that we are, doing this one. And we also had a little bit of a surprise coming out of it. We actually had a new video clip, an advertisement for the 20th anniversary being announced, and it actually featured Tegan and Nyssa.
Yay!
And it also a return of a very old Doctor Who villain who hasn't been seen in almost 40 years. So it was actually pretty cool. And so I think this is actually going to be, it's just, the other ones we've seen when they've done the announcements for the videos and everything, they've brought back Perry, they've brought back Mel, they've brought, other characters back from Doctor Who for, when they were announcing the different Blu-rays. And I think this one, though, is a little different because I think this is going to maybe lead to something. This doesn't look like it's done.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because it's hard to say something like Tegan's been haunted by this entity for 40-something years and then just leave it there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of fan theory going on out there. And the way that, and let's dive in. Let's talk about it for a few minutes. It was wonderful to see Sarah and also, of course, seeing Tegan and, Janet Fielding. She's just awesome. And it was great seeing her in Power of the Doctor this last season.
Yes.
And so she
was a highlight.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And there had been rumor going around that she might be part of the one of the spinoffs that is possible. And that's going to be a future episode for us to talk about. So we're not really going to dive into that now. But it was great to see both Sarah and Janet on screen together for the first time in quite so many years. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it is cool. I mean, I think they've done Big Finish together. So it's not like they haven't been together doing anything all this time. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, but I mean, it's always cool to see them, interact and to have little follow-ups like this. I just take it as it comes. I'm like, I don't expect any more from this. And it's kind of cool that we got it, but I think it's just some people having some fun. If it leads to somewhere, fine. I'll be interested in that too. But I think I've said it before. This is not my favorite era of Doctor Who. So maybe that's why I don't get as excited about it as some people do.
Yeah, this is not my favorite era either. And frankly, this little trailer, I was a lot more excited to see it than the episode we're going to review afterwards. But, I will say, yeah, it's intriguing. And they could just be trolling, which is fine. But there does kind of seem to be a theme going on about, the consequences of being a companion that actually picks up from the power of the Doctor, where you see the companion support group. And then, now we've got Donna coming back. We all know what consequences she faced. And then Tegan, living with the Mara in her head for 40-something years. So it's an interesting avenue
we do
to
know
explore.
That Mel's coming back too, right? So
correct.
Yes.
Yes, they've already shown official pictures from.
So, I mean, I'm glad that Russell T and them are opening up. Well, opening up the universe and including a lot more former companions. I mean, I'm hoping that they don't dive too deep to make it, inaccessible to new people. But, these are great actors. I'm glad to see them get work. And a lot of times, as you kind of pointed out, Mary, some of the stuff they're doing now is in better hands than what it was originally. So, I think that's
so
good
much
too.
Younger, though. They were so much younger then. So,
but I will say that to me, like the best part of the clips, because they do they have that segment where it sort of revisits what like in continuity stuff, but then there's a whole thing about all the bonus material that is in this 20th season set, and it's an amazing season for me. Just because it's right around the time when I really sort of embraced Doctor Who, but also kind of dropped off. But it's the 5 Doctors, so it's a big anniversary there, which I think is one of the, up until recently, it's one of the biggest anniversary things they'd ever done. And I think that's pretty exciting. I mean, for the 5 Doctors alone and all of the bonus material that's in there, that's enough for me to go, well, I'm not really a big fan of this era, but will probably buy this set.
Okay. I definitely will. It's already pre-ordered, so it's, for me, I've been getting the Blu-rays now as they've been coming out, and they're so worth it. And I'm having fun with even a lot of the bonus material they have on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes the bonus material is the reason why I want it.
I mean, more than the references to some of the other storylines and everything, I was just like, hanging out with these 3 or 4 actors or whatever, while they're doing a road trip to Germany or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch that. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is in that vein. There's a sweet little behind the scenes video in the making of this little webisode. So that's on YouTube, which I recommend going to see, because that's just fun watching the actors sort of fool around and just have a good time making this.
Yeah, and they all, generally speaking, I mean, as far as we know, they all seem to really get along and they really interact very well together. We've been to enough conventions, we've seen them enough behind the scenes that a lot of them just interact it's very fun to see them interact together. And no matter what, they could all just read the phone book and it'd be pretty engaging.
Oh yeah, very much so. And it's going to be great. It's great to see them visit some of the locations they did in Amsterdam when they did Arc of Infinity. And it's just going to be a lot of fun to see, and the interviews and such. But the clip itself, we got to see the Merca come back, which is pretty cool.
Well, I mean, see, you say that, and I'm like, you know what was cool to me? I don't know if that was really Janet's kitchen, but damn, that's a beautiful kitchen.
Oh no, it's not. But
It's not.
that's one of the reasons why you should watch the behind the scenes
Exactly.
thing, because
So she's even impressed with the kitchen.
The kitchen is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, where did they film this? Because it looks fun. That looks like a great kitchen.
No, it's Russell T's kitchen, of course.
right.
Now, did they reveal whose kitchen it is?
No,
Oh.
no.
Okay. So I was just thinking.
It's Elton John's kitchen.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
but I think Elton John's kitchen was much more sparkly.
Flamboyant. No. So yeah, it should be a ton of fun to see this, and I enjoyed the video, and it put a smile on my face, and it was nice for a work day to be able to take a break and go, oh, this is pretty awesome. So
as good as the official, 50th anniversary story that Stephen Moffat wrote and directed and all that was, which I think was one of the best things Doctor Who's ever done. But as great as that was, the Five-ish Doctor was so fun. Seeing these guys, gals, everybody involved interact with each other is just a hoot. And I hope in the 60th anniversary, we're all caught up on, David's coming back and all this sort of thing, and all these specials, and then we get a new Doctor and all that kind of stuff. But I want to see some behind the scenes stuff, some real fun stuff with past, like really celebrating the franchise.
Well, Peter Davison has already come out saying that there's not going to be a new Five-ish Doctors.
No, I wouldn't want them to repeat it, but I mean, just to have them, like, I hope that there's something that we see, that stuff like this, where it's part of this box set here is enough for me. I mean, it shows that they're really taking advantage of the show's history and the resources, the fact that these people are still around.
Mm-hmm, exactly. They're very fortunate that these folks are still around. They're not getting any younger, folks. So the best line, though, in the trailer for it was, oh, the Doctor's in there. Oh, which one? The scarf, the celery, or her?
Yeah, yes, the woman.
Oh, woman.
And this, I get my seasons confused, so you have to forgive me, but this season is Adricless?
Yes.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Adric died literally at the end of the season before, or Shock
19.
when they closed it.
Yeah.
So 19.
Yes.
Yes. So they're all celebrating.
No, it wasn't the closing. Time Flight was the closer for that season, because that's Tegan left.
Well, Time Flight's kind of forgettable. So
that's true, and that's why I forgot it purposely.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. We've covered a lot of the Fifth Doctor stuff, but we've still got about 3 or 4 storylines to go with him. So,
oh damn, okay.
Woohoo!
The last one we're going to be reviewing tonight with the Black Dog. So there we go.
So yeah, this is Well, maybe I guess it would be.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So thank God for small miracles, as we like to say. Also, for the 60th anniversary, the 3 specials are getting novelizations. So I think that's
really fun by some decent writers. So I think that I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are Target-esque. I take it.
Yes.
Yes. They're going to be very similar to.
Yeah, they're coming out in January.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, did you say you had a set of not all, but a lot of the Target books still, or
No, not anymore. I sold it for beer money when I was in college. But up to that point,
think how much beer you could actually get liquor now with that kind of money.
I was young. I was impressionable. It was interesting because I had every one of the Target novelizations, and then I also had the continuing adventures at that point, because this was probably 90 when I sold it. It was my senior year of college.
Wow.
And so it was the perks of working at a comic book store and also a regular bookstore. I was able to order the Target novelizations for the books for the store. And so it was pretty awesome.
I have not actually read any of the new adaptations the stories. I have a couple of them in my stack to read stack, but I just recently read Human Nature for the first time about a month or so ago.
Good.
It's such an amazing story.
And of course, that's not an adaptation. That's one that was actually so good that they actually made it into
they adapted the
wonderful
TV show,
wonderful two-parter,
from the book.
And but it got reissued, I think, as part of the anniversary. The 50th anniversary, I think it got reissued with a new cover, so it was more like a Target-esque book, and it's really good. If people haven't read that, I definitely recommend that book. It's a little different. Well, it's a lot different than the adaptation, but they're both really interesting, and it's two different doctors. It's the same kind of thing happening to one doctor as opposed to another, and I think the stories, their strengths fit each one of the doctors that is featured in them. So, and companions as well. So I really, that was a really good read. So I definitely encourage that one. I don't know. I might, depending, I guess, on how the specials are, I might be interested in picking these up, but I don't know if they'll necessarily add much to them. But like I said, I haven't read any of the newer ones, so I don't know.
Well, sometimes, I like it when the books expand on it, because there's only so much you can do in 45 minutes or however long they are. So, sometimes it works out really well, and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I'd be willing to at least try the first one and see how well they do in adapting it.
It'll be very interesting to see, and you know what? I'm looking forward to it, and it should be fun. I'll probably pick them up because to start building my collection back again. But it's sad though, because you could find a lot of those Target books at used bookstores for really cheap too.
Yeah, there's like one or two that I think are not cheap because the print run on them was low or something like that. But for the most part, they're pretty easy to pick up.
Mm-hmm. And there were, it's interesting to if you get the Target ones, but then there was also, I think, Random House, I think, did them for the U.S. and there was like 5 of them. There was a John Pertwee one, and then there was some Tom Baker ones. So it was real interesting to see what they were, and because I had those as part of the collection also. So it was interesting.
Now, are these done by? Are they actually BBC books? Because of the books we talked about before, where they're doing for the anniversary, which are new adventures featuring all sorts of doctors, those are official BBC books. They're not trying to be Target books, right?
No, these are BBC books.
Gotcha.
And and so it's going to be, of course, special. The Star Beast, Wild Blue Yonder, and The Giggle each will be coming out. So it should be very interesting to see.
And are they actually because I don't even know if it's still around anymore. Are they actually Target books, or they just look and formatted like Target books? Or
they'll probably be looked and formatted like.
Yeah, I don't know. Target books still exist anymore.
No,
I don't know.
They've been copying the look and feel, but
yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
they're doing homages and probably. So yeah, it's going to be very curious to see what they got, and so wait for the space, because they haven't even put out cover art or anything yet. Because I think they're trying to be secretive because of some of the content. They don't want to spoil anything.
Well, good. I don't want to be spoiled.
Exactly.
And yeah, the BBC is calling them Target novelizations. So, I mean,
but that's just a way to describe them, not that they're actually published by Target, right?
No, they're not going to be published by Target. So it'll be very interesting to see. So, and of course, as always, we are still waiting for the switchover from Max to Disney Plus. We don't have any idea when that's going to be happening.
Who knows?
I did see somebody do some fan art for the Disney Plus screens, and with
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
it's really good. It almost looks like it actually could be, but it's like, is that it? Is it over? And it's like, no.
Nope.
So,
nope.
Pulling wool over my eyes once again. I don't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mir.
I was just gonna say, speaking of art, they put out some really nice posters
today as of
for
recording.
the 60th or for the Christmas specials. I'm not sure which one they're really from.
Yep. So,
but yeah, they're very nice.
Mm-hmm. And there's 4 of them, I think, that I've seen.
Yeah, there's Ruby Sunday, Donna Noble, David Tennant, and Ncuti Gatwa.
Yep. I think it's pretty awesome. And, for those who are interested, because, those who have been living in a box or something, Barbie is coming out this weekend as of this recording. And Shooty's
No. Barbenheimer is coming out.
Yeah, Barbheimer.
Barbenheimer. But Shooty's not going to be in Oppenheimer. So it'll all blur together, of course.
Yes, we did have the pink TARDIS going around.
Is the pink TARDIS, is that a Barbie marketing thing, or is it something else?
Well, I think it's because Ncuti Gatwa is Ken in Barbie, one of the Kens.
One of the many Kens.
Gotcha. So it is
so they did like
a cross promotion?
Yeah, I think it's like a cross promotion.
Gotcha.
So, and it's been brilliant seeing the pictures of the pink TARDIS in front of the London Bridge, or actually, sorry.
So it's a Barb and Dr. Heimer?
Mm-hmm.
Diamond.
Barb and Dr. Heimer. Oi, now I'm going to have a headache. Headache coming on real quick. Okay. Any other news stories we want to cover tonight, or was that about it? I guess that's it.
I'm sure they'll wait till we're off the air to release anything new.
Oh, I'm sure as soon as we hit stop on the new trailer for Doctor Who is going to be coming out that they were supposed to show at, San Diego, because that was one of the promises that they said that they were going to have. So, because it was interesting, they had Tennant lined up, they had Ncuti lined up, they had the actress who's playing Ruby Sunday. They also had, of course, Donna, and so Catherine Tate. So it was going to be interesting, and of course, RTD was going to be there. So.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I'm glad that they're doing that, and obviously there's the American tie-ins and all that. But I do know that a lot of the production that's going on and things that are being produced over in Britain are not really as affected by the writer's strike, because they're not SAG productions, so nope. They don't. I mean, they might be doing some stuff in solidarity, but one of the things that the studios is looking at, of course, is to try to get around and get new content, is to try to make some stuff overseas. But even in a case of like DragonCon, where they have some Doctor Who guests as well as a lot of other celebrity guests, I noticed that they've taken all the descriptions of all the actors scheduled to appear off the website, except for a few. And Manip is one of the ones that still has hers on listed, because I guess she's not a SAG member.
I assume she's not a member of the American Union.
Yeah, Jodie is. Jodie's information is not on the DragonCon site. They're still all listed as coming, but exactly what they're going to be able to do and not do, that's still up in the air. But so we'll see how that plays out. But I mean, a lot of conventions are doing similar things.
Yep. As we like to say, it's all wait and see right now, truthfully. And we don't know anything, so we're not going to spread any rumors or anything, because it's not worth it. Hopefully by the time we come to you guys with our next episode, we'll have some clues of what's happening and everything, and we'll be able to, talk to you about it.
Sure. The only thing I would like to say too is that, I mean, I guess I'm not going to speak for all of you, but I stand with the actors just as much as I stand with the writers, as I mentioned before.
Yeah,
and this unfortunately needs to happen, because there's just been too much abuse, and there's a lot of issues at play here. I know the AI is getting most of the headlines, but it's not just about that. But
it's about streaming rights.
It's about streaming rights.
Absolutely. And I think that especially where Doctor Who's concerned, streaming is a big issue. And if there are any delays caused by this, I am perfectly willing to sit and wait just as long as it takes for things to get resolved in a good manner, because I hate waiting as much as everybody else, especially for Doctor Who. but if need be, I'll do it. I'll do it just because I'm on their side. I'm on their side.
Well, it's interesting too, because, some of, a lot of the big heads of the studios have come out and made really stupid comments. Really
Shocker.
stupid.
Yes, incredibly insensitive.
No,
comments.
exactly. And it's just, and one actually came out today and said, well, the public should want the strike to be over because, the more we sit without making productions, the more we're going to probably have to look at raising streaming prices. And so it's just like,
oh yeah, they're already looking at how they're going to profit from this.
Yeah,
yeah.
Course.
Take your thread and guess where you can put it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But actually, though, that reminds me, there's another little piece of Doctor Who news, which is that they wrapped filming for Shudigatwa's first season.
Oh yeah.
And in an interview, he actually said he's looking already forward to the second season. So
yes,
which is amazing and everything. I figured he's going to do the 3 and done, just like everybody else.
Yeah, that seems to be the way most of them go.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we're already going to start guessing who's going to be Dr.
Oh God, let's not. Let's enjoy what we have.
Mm-hmm. It'll be very interesting. And on that note, let's take a quick break, and we are going to be back, and we are going to talk all about Terminus. What you gonna do, brothers and sisters, when thousands of geeky fans descend on Atlanta for 5 days and nights of the grandest con of them all? You can prepare by training, eating your vitamins, saying your prayers, and checking out the Dragon Con report each and every month leading up to the show. Watch or listen and let Dragon Con Mania run wild on you! Let's go back to the year 1983. We are looking at Terminus, which is the 5th Doctor, and of course Nyssa and Tegan, and of course Turlough as the companions. So once again, a crowded TARDIS.
Yes, the overstuffed TARDIS.
Oh God! And it's interesting in this 4-part story, they're really not all together at all throughout the. And it was interesting. This one it's been probably close to 20 years since I've seen this one. And there's reasons for it. I now remember after watching it.
why you put it off for so long.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's funny because I love Margarine Undead. I love that story because it's the Brigadier. And, it's 2 Brigadiers actually. And
Margarine Undead is a way, way better story.
Oh, very much so. And it's funny too, because this is the second part of the Black Guardian trilogy, and it introduced this story. These 3 stories introduced Turlough. We said bye to Nyssa in this story, and it was really, really interesting because, each one of the 3 parts of the storyline just goes down and down. And everything.
It just keeps getting worse.
Because I think the next one was Enlightenment, I think.
Yeah, Enlightenment.
And
some people like Enlightenment, but
yeah, okay.
I mean, probably some people like Terminus.
Oh, exactly. And it was interesting, watching it this time. It was, it had so much potential for a good story. There were so many plots you could have picked up and actually had really, really good storylines. But this one just didn't make any sense at all.
No. I mean, it's so superficial. It doesn't explore anything in depth.
Mm-mm.
No, it's really like a half-hour story, padded out into 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. And I, as a trilogy goes, unfortunately, this is the first time I watched it, and unfortunately, we saw or reviewed Modern Undead in episode 101, and then we watched Enlightenment, which is the third part in episode 248, and here it is 328, and now we're doing Terminus, and I'm like, I don't remember, like we're watching it out of order. I don't remember like what's what. I mean, I know that Turlough was working for the Black Guardian, and that was about it. And so as far as any sort of overarching theme or anything else at play here, didn't really connect with me on that level. I think due to just the fact that it had been a while since I watched these. And look, I don't think they're really done well anyway. So even if I'd seen them in order, I don't know. This would have definitely felt like a padded middle chapter, because it really just keeps repeating the same beat over and over again, especially as far as the Black Guardian and Turlough are concerned.
Kill the doctor!
Kill the
doctor!
Or I will hurt you.
I still love his voice, though. Valentine's voice is so awesome in the show.
Yeah, it's just that he looks like he's squinting all the time. Like, I can't quite see you.
Exactly, and he had a bird. And he had a bird on his head.
Yeah, he's like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I don't know. Is this the first time or one of the few times we get to see the round things actually used for something?
No,
in the TARDIS.
There's been other times in Tom's era and earlier in with the Fifth Doctor.
Like, I'm like, wow, they're storing stuff in here.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it's pretty easy to get into them.
I thought they would just, I thought they would just decor. I thought,
Mm-hmm. No, there's storage closets also. Who knew?
I love the fact that too, it's like, welcome aboard, Turlough. This TARDIS is pretty much infinite in the amount of space that we have here, but we're going to like put you in Addict's room.
Right, just to torture you a little bit.
Yeah,
like this.
That's how little
got blown up. But
that's how little we care about Adric. We're just like, you know what? Just if you want to change things in here, go ahead. We don't care. We're not really keeping a torch for him at all.
In this room, yeah.
Exactly. Nothing's valuable here. It's all just garbage. Just do whatever you want with it.
He's dead. It's no big deal.
He's dead. You're the replacement.
You're a new guy. I was like, damn, that's cold,
it was
man.
Cold.
Yeah. Which is funny because because at the time, like, Turlough is in oh man, not just Janet Fielding's character, Tegan, right? And Tegan's like giving Turlough a hard time because she doesn't trust him or whatever, and he's saying like, you're cold and rude, and I'm like, yeah, she is. The way she's like just shuffling this guy into Adric's room and everything and not caring. Like, I'm like, yeah, she kind of is. And she's always kind of
character throughout the whole thing.
Pretty much. Yeah, It is pretty much. Yeah, I'm not her biggest fan.
No, I mean, Janet, there's nothing wrong with Janet Fielding, but the way her character was written was, not good.
No, I mean, that's the same. The same can be said for so many of these characters here during this era. And, I hate to keep doing that because I know some people really love this era and they get a lot out of it and everything like that. So I get it, but, it just doesn't work for me personally. I would say I'm a big fan of Nyssa, and it's sorry to see her go in this. And she has an interesting storyline here, although I don't know, for some reason she decided like, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to show as much flesh as I could possibly can in this storyline. Like, wow, Nyssa, like you stayed like most of your time, you're like covered up in like 8 layers. And this is your last storyline, and you're shedding clothes like left and right. She's got a fever, right? Off with the skirt, like here's my cleavage, like yeah. I'm like, goodness gracious, girl.
I know there was a couple of scenes. It was just like, oh my god, I don't remember those parts.
It's just like they're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Yeah.
And literally at the end, all she was wearing was like a bodysuit. At the
right.
Yeah. I mean, it was but and it was look, we've seen companions go before and have they make weak excuses. I don't know what the real reason for her leaving. I don't know if it was her choice or whatever, but I will say that I've seen worse as far as companions' last storylines, and this one at least she goes out in a way that is pretty heroic, if you will. I mean, it's certainly altruistic. It's very much in her character, and it's very noble, actually. She goes out, even the doctor's like, You're leaving? Like, I'm not even that noble.
I don't care if these people die.
Exactly. I was just gonna peace out. Like, come on, let's go.
I wasn't gonna like try to actually cure them or anything. I mean, geez, I got better things to do.
She's like, yeah. I thought there was going to be a thing too with because that one guard that that sort of betrayed her, befriended her, whatever, did all that stuff. Like he had his sister there, and obviously, when Nyssa talked to one of them, I thought that was going to end up being the sister, and they were going to do something with that, but they didn't.
No, his sister died. He said his sister died.
Oh, did his sister
died of the disease?
Gotcha. I didn't remember that, so I didn't catch that because I thought there was going to be, because she actually seemed to make a connection with people in there, and I thought that was going to play out. And then, I mean, I guess it did because she decided to stay, but at least it wasn't like, I'm going to stay here because I found the love of my life.
Well, that would have been more interesting, though, if the sister had been there, because then she could have made a character connection, and then, it would have made more sense for her to stay there. Though I will say, I mean, they did establish that she was, feeling kind of unfulfilled on the TARDIS in the beginning, where she's doing her experiments with the enzymes and all of that. And it's obvious she's very intelligent and has a skill she's not using, and it's frustrating her. And so it that part at least made sense for why she would stay there.
I think if I was watching these in order, and and at the time or even later, and Nyssa's leaving, and the Fifth Officer's companions are now Tegan and Turlough, I'm going to be like, check please. I'd be like, oh,
this is like, okay, I have to choose between the plague or having to stick around with Tegan and Turlough. You know what? I am out of here.
Exactly. I'd rather deal with sick people than you people.
And Turlough is such a weasel in this, and just such a, a wuss.
He's a whiny little jerk. Yeah.
I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, because we've seen other ones, he gets better, right? Like, I don't remember disliking Turlough.
He does get better.
Yeah.
I would say he gets better. I mean,
I think he grows a spine, right?
You can still spine him by his last episode.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to also, I'm grading on a scale because of this whole season. It's not, that great.
Well, exactly. Because I know the Target books actually did a Turlough spinoff for one book. And actually, I think Mark actually wrote it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And everything. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it was, it was interesting to see. So he kind of redeems himself a little bit. He does when he turns against the Black Guardian also in the next story.
Well, and he does that at the very end here, where he's like, I'm not going to do it. And like, he's starting to show a spine. I don't know if we really see that, like, it's earned. It sounds like he just does it more out of, like, frustration than he does really that it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, nothing's
he's
earned.
Like, I'm so tired of dealing with you.
Right.
Screw it.
I mean, there aren't any really good character moments here or in much of season 20, really. But yeah, it's just not well written.
Right.
There's a lot of characters here, and I don't think I cared about any of them.
No, and the whole thing about, like, I was kind of interested in the whole, like, leper, whatever, colony and in space and Terminus and everything. But when they started to link it to the birth of the universe, I was kind of like, all right, that's too much. Like, that's just, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, it's totally unnecessary, because that's actually an interesting storyline to explore, a ship that's, filled with people who are dying.
Yeah.
And they've just been sent away. And then you have these slaves that are, stuck there. And that's a very interesting storyline, which they do not explore.
No.
Well, that's because they're British. If this was written by an American, we would know that, like, this is a big take on, like, poor healthcare and insurance and everything. But because the British, because
they have nationalized healthcare.
Exactly. They're like, oh yeah, we don't have a problem with that.
We stick everybody in a ward anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. This is like, Americans watching this are like, yeah, that's what happens. That's still happening to this day. That's what's happening.
It's not different.
No.
Yeah.
You'd be shipped off, you're not going to be cured, and you have to pay through the nose to do it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the corporation's making money off you, which they
Yeah.
also don't explore.
Exactly.
But,
And then in the Garm, why is the Garm even there?
They don't say.
he's a big
don't
dude.
say.
He's just there in his really, really bad sort of dog-like costume.
With red eyes.
I will say, yeah, of course, it's Doctor Who stuff, so I get it. But it's like, what I really liked about the Garn, though, is that dude that they got is a big guy, and he just walks at his own pace. Like, it's just like, it's like there's no like run off stage or exit fast or anything like that. He's just like, I'm going to walk away now. And it's just like, it's just so funny to me that he just goes at his own pace. I don't know. Usually on TV, you see people move a lot faster than that.
Mm. And it was like interesting. It was like, and then when you can talk, of course I can talk. It's like.
Yeah, he's been silent the whole time, and then all of a sudden he's just Joe Chatty.
Chatty Cathy right there. It's like
I'm free. Now I'm going to talk your ear off.
Mm-hmm, you should have put me back in. And they didn't explain how he got there or why that box was controlling him. They didn't go into.
No, they didn't explain anything.
No. The origins of the disease, whatever.
I mean, just the whole thing about it's an interstellar time-traveling spaceship, and it's got a great big red switch. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think it's a time-traveling.
Oh no, it is.
It is.
I think it got thrown ahead in time because of the explosion. They said
no, it's a time ship.
That's what the doctor was saying. It was a time ship.
Because they don't.
He says that.
Yeah.
He said. Well, I remember they said that it got like blown in time, like after the explosion, because they were like, why didn't it get destroyed in the explosion? He's like, I don't know. It must have just got thrown in time forward.
Well, actually, because there wasn't an explosion in that way, what they do is dump fuel.
Yes, and the dumped fuel from them doing that.
Well, the Big Bang was an explosion.
Yes,
they do
but
establish.
Yes, but the ship itself doesn't explode.
No,
they actually do. Well, they don't explain it, but
because if you remember
hand wave it
in this, in this convoluted story, what they were saying
I'm not gonna
was that really first in the story they said the first engine caused the Big Bang, but then the doctor said no, the other engine's still here. That they just dumped the fuel, and that's what caused the Big Bang. Yeah,
and the fuel ignited.
Exactly,
but the ship didn't explode.
No.
Right, and that's because they were like, and they said if it does it again, it's going to destroy them.
Right, the doctor was looking at the controls. He says, "This is a time traveling ship."
Yeah, he says it straight out.
Yeah.
Well, I got confused as to because there's a ship.
This story, really?
Gee, I don't see how you could get confused.
Because there's a ship that they're on, and then there's a station, which I guess is another ship or whatever, and it's like. And sometimes I think they were even confused as to which ship they were actually on.
Mm-hmm.
Because my understanding is that Tegan and Turlough never really get to the station part. They're still on the ship because they're the ones, that's being sanitized and all that kind of stuff. They show up on the bridge of it and everything like that. I don't know if they ever get to the actual station, and yet there's other parts where I it doesn't make any sort of sense. And like, you want to talk about throwing something in random. It's like, hey, here's a robot with some weird sort of thingies that you should
that
be
is there for
of.
no reason.
Exactly. That's no threat at all whatsoever. They just walk past it 9 times out of 10.
And take her to further the story. That was the only reason.
Yeah, and you didn't even need it for that. You could have had.
No.
Yeah.
It was another waste.
It's really sloppy.
I mean, there's actually a third ship because technically the pirate ship is there, at least in the beginning.
But then they left. They ran away.
I mean, we haven't even brought up the pirates, which tells you how much effect they have on this story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Can we say 80s hair all the way, right?
Oh, my God.
Well,
yes.
That's the beauty of watching these, right? Because you want to see like the 80s stuff. I get a kick out of the 80s.
Oh, but it was funny as hell because they had wide space helmets, and then when they
I
realized,
know.
and they had to turn them sideways to take them off the hair, so
They were so
they could also
huge.
wouldn't mess up their hair. It was like, you're kidding me. So it was awesome. It was cheesy fun, and it didn't drag for me, and that's fine. But it didn't make any sense, and that's what I keep on going with. And it's just like, really? And Tegan's been traveling with Nyssa for a couple seasons now, and when she said, "Wait a minute," when she heard someone say, "Help me, help me," and she thought it was Nyssa's voice, and it was just like,
that made no sense.
Yeah.
It was just like, really? And why didn't Tegan get, she had the, basically the lepers all over them, and why didn't she get sick? Because Doctor Who,
Yeah, there is no explanation.
No.
They just glossed over everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the skull logo we kept seeing, the skull head.
No reason.
Was
for
that?
it.
Yeah.
No, that was marking where the leper people were being held.
Right, but
because when those doors opened, that's when they came flooding out.
Okay, I couldn't figure out, is that supposed to be graffiti or is that like an actual
I think that was just
sign?
I think that was just a marking saying there's like really dead like sick people back here.
Dead people.
Like
because the way they rendered it,
people.
it looked like graffiti. It looked like a stylized version of the Grateful Dead skull in a way.
It was kind of cool graffiti.
That's being mean to the Grateful Dead. Come on. I will take exception to that. But yeah, there was just nothing good about the story. I didn't like any of the companions. I didn't like the Doctor was like just running around, and everything. And he was getting beat up left and right. And it's like, wait a minute, he knows Venetian judo. Come on,
No, he's running around with space hair. And Tegan and Turlough are under the floor the whole time, practically.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. I did there is an exchange between Tegan and Turlough that did make me laugh. I did find it funny. It's when Turlough's going, just passing the time, they're just like, he's like, so if you had to murder somebody, could you do it? And she's like, what?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And he's like, if it's important, and he's like, she's like, at first she goes, no. And then she's like, well,
it depends on the circumstance.
If it was you, Turlough.
And then she just kind of looks at him and is like, you're weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
because he started then going, it would be in cold blood. And it was just like, and she was like, no.
Yeah, it is kind of, I did think that was a little fun exchange. I mean, yeah, because I don't know if they were like, okay, well, they're the only two that's going to be left after Nyssa leaves, so we need to have them bond with whatever in this storyline. So, but to be honest with you, they didn't do that successfly.
No.
No.
I never got the sense that, I didn't feel like at the end of the story they were in any different place than they were at the beginning.
No, not at all. There is no characterization here. They're all cardboard. They're all just, reciting bad dialogue.
Mm-hmm. And the slaves/soldiers, it's using that green liquid to power up and to save them. It was just like, and the one who was in control, wait, we've got to ration this, and but he was using it left and right on himself. It was just like,
yeah,
there was no explanation for any of
it. That went nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could have been interesting to explore too, but it went nowhere.
Like I said, there was a lot of loose threads that could have gone somewhere, but they never did. That's the problem with this story. All right. Before we keep on bashing it for the next hour,
we could spend more time bashing it.
I know we can, but let's go ahead and rate this. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. All right, let's see how low we can go tonight, folks. I'll let Mary go first.
1 easily. I did not like this at all. It did drag for me. I was like halfway through it. I'm like, oh, please, please, hasn't this already been on for like 5 hours? It because it was driving me insane because it went nowhere. I did not care about any of the characters. Anyone who is a completist for Classic Who, if you want to skip this one, I will not tell anybody because it's just bad. It's just really bad. And
can't disagree with that.
In fact, I will say Nyssa is probably the only sort of bright spot here, and that's kind of despite what they give her to do. Just because Sarah Sutton's doing a good job. And
she was doing great, but
that earns it 1 point.
That's your 1 point?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Mike.
I'm going to be a little bit kinder to the episode than Mary. I'm going to give it a 2 TARDISes. And by the way, I did look to see after we recorded and everything, or after I watched it and everything before we recorded, I did see a thing from Sarah, who because I was trying to figure out if she left if it was her decision to leave or what. I don't have the answer to that. So, but she did say that she said that in an interview, she said that while her time on Doctor Who, the production office kept getting letters of complaint about how she was covered up all the time. So when she left the series, she decided to drop her skirt as a parting gesture to all the fans who had written in. And she said it caused such a stir. She said, I'm still being asked about it when I'm interviewed. And she's like, I'm not looking back on it. I'm not sure it was a wise thing to do. But yeah, that was very intentional. It seems like on her part, like, yes, I'm out of here and I'm leaving my clothes with me. I'm not taking my clothes with me. So, which is an interesting decision, but I not, that aside, I'm not saying that's the reason, but I will say with Mary that I think this is and I'm going to use the word in quotes, strong Nyssa episode storyline. She is the bright spot here. Mm-hmm. And she does, I think, rise above the material enough that I give it 2 TARDISes.
Okay.
That's fair.
I usually say I'm not going to give below a 3 on the show. And I think I can count on one hand episodes that I've given less than a 3. And I guess I'm going to have to start a second hand because I'm going to do 2.5 on this one. It was not a good story. The writer should be taken out and shot because,
wow. Damn.
The story did not make much sense at all. And I really wanted to like this one. I really, really did because, Nyssa was great. Nyssa, other than half the time when she was knocked out or, when she was just like with the other peasants or lepers or whatever you want to call them. And, it was just like, there was times even her, I wanted to strangle her. It was just like, no, shut up, just shut up, type thing. And, Tegan and Turlough, I could have done without. And the Doctor, he had more of a companion with the pirate than, any of the other 2 or 3. So it was just interesting that, it was that way, and for those people who are still griping because Matt Smith's Doctor used a gun, the Doctor did it again in this episode.
Yep.
And
oh yeah,
happens a lot actually.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's not. Well, he is not. I mean, and that's the other thing I noticed that he is without his sonic, right?
His sonic screwdriver was destroyed.
Destroyed, like in an earlier story, right? Mm-hmm. So
it's a couple last season.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that's. I mean, look, as a writer, so that's a bit harsh to say that you should be shot, but and I know you're not speaking literally, but I mean, it's not his first time writing Doctor Who. He wrote
I know Warriors that's what's Gate. Sad about it.
And he did do a show later on for ITV called The 11th Hour, starring Patrick Stewart, which I thought was an interesting science-based show. So he is capable of decent stuff, but this is not it.
No. Well, he also did Warriors Gate, and I'm not a fan of that one either. So,
well, that whole
space
stuff.
So I'm not making any excuses for this guy. And so, no, I'm not. I'm going to stand by what I said before. So I'm not walking.
You still want to shoot him.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're sending him out the airlock.
Exactly. With Turlough and Tegan.
Leaving him on the plague planet.
Right. We'll let them with no radiation treatment. So it's interesting though. And, we definitely want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think? Are we being too harsh with this one, or are we, being nice and giving it too high of points? Let us know.
I was going to say, I don't think we're being too nice.
So please.
I don't think we're going to be accused of being too nice.
Feedback at earthstationwho.com is definitely the best way to get in touch with us. Thank you guys for listening. We do appreciate you guys. Check out our Doctor Who group. I've been trying to really start posting a lot more Doctor Who news, Doctor Who artwork, cartoons, images. We have got a great, great group up there. Tell your friends and neighbors. It's always fun. And we just found out, actually, Doctor Who Podcast Day is coming up in August. So we will talk a little bit about it. They have, we'll have some very interesting stuff going on. So it should be cool. It definitely should be kind of cool. So we'll definitely let you guys know more about it when we know more about it, because I think we will be involved with it. Our friends over at the Traveling TARDIS actually brought it up to me already to possibly do something with them. So we'll have to see. But of course, until then, please like and subscribe our show wherever you listen to find podcasts. We definitely, always appreciate it when people listen, people find us and go, oh, Doctor Who, I'm going to listen to this very positive show. And then they hear our episode today. So you'll love the beginning of the show, folks. You really, really enjoyed that big review. I think we liked the review for the 20th anniversary Blu-ray special.
Absolutely.
Yes. This episode.
Watch the trailer. Don't watch this.
So definitely. But of course, let's thank everybody for being here. Mr. Mike, as always, we made it through another one, my friend.
And as always, it's my pleasure.
And Ms. Mary Ogle, thank you as always.
Oh, thank you.
Anything you want to shout out about?
Well, you can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVisionArt.
Excellent. Until next time, folks, with Doctor Who, stay spacey as always. We'll see you in the future or maybe in the past. You never know where we're going to end up. See you soon. Bye.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talent from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.